problem? What was the last class problem that we were discussing? It was in relation with the Nyquist stability criterion. Okay, so whatever points you are having for S that you are going to map on G of S into H of S plane, that is F of S minus 1 plane. And then you are going to check out how the point minus 1 plus J0 is encircled, how many times, and you have to relate that number of encirclements to the location of poles and zeros in the right half. Then you will discuss system stability and you will decide what is the range for K. Okay, so that is the procedure for discussing system stability with the help of Nyquist stability criterion. So already we have discussed this problem. The problem was having one open loop transfer function g of s into h of s is equal to k divided by s into s plus 2 into s plus 10, and you have to determine the range of k for which the closed loop system is stable, they have asked in the problem. So since this function that is being given here, it is not in time constant form, it is in pole zero form. The first step that you need to do is you need to convert that into 1 plus st format, that is time constant form, and you are rewriting it again. So that way the final equation will be obtained like this. Just you have taken out 2 and 10 from the denominator and you have simplified that so that you will be able to get a time constant representation. So that is your first check that you have to do for all the frequency domain plots. That is achieved. The next thing is you have to draw the Nyquist contour on the S-plane. So you have to check first whether there are any poles that are located on the origin. Here, as you can see from this transfer function, you are having a pole located on the origin. So you locate it. That will be your singular point. So this Nyquist contour that you are going to draw, that will not be passing through this singular point, it has to take a detour. So because of the presence of this pole at origin, instead of 3 normal segments, you will be having one additional segment in this case for a Nyquist contour. This is your Nyquist contour. Usually it will be drawn like this, like I am drawing. Like this it will be drawn. That is, it will be made to cover the entire right half of the S-plane. It will be made to cover. That contour is called as Nyquist contour. But special cases when you are having a pole located at origin, that is a singular point, so this Nyquist contour should not pass through this. Okay, so you will take a bypass and one additional segment will come in this case. That segment will be C4. So first thing is you need to draw this Nyquist contour. After framing the time constant representation, you are drawing the Nyquist contour and observing the Nyquist contour. You are having segment number 1, that is along imaginary axis, which is ranging from omega is equal to 0 to omega is equal to infinity. Then C2 will be your arc that is covering up the entire right half of the S-plane and whose radius is infinity, and it will be ranging from pi by 2 to minus pi by 2 angle. And the next segment is your C3 segment, that is again along the imaginary axis j omega, where the direction is from omega is equal to infinity to omega is equal to 0. Now you are having that extra segment that I am going to draw here, that is C4, that I am drawing in green color, that is your C4. That will be not usually present because you are having a pole located at the origin, you are having that segment and it is very close around the origin. So the radius for this segment will be 0. And it will be ranging from, I think, minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. It will be in the reverse direction when compared to this main arc. So it will be traveling from minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. So you are to consider C1, C2, C3 as separate individual segments, and you are going to obtain the map. For each and every segment you are going to obtain a map. That is what you are going to do as the next step. And as I have already told you, the first segment is this infinite line segment, which is along the imaginary axis, which is traveling from omega is equal to 0 ns to omega is equal to plus infinity, that you are going to map. For that, always the map will be your polar plot. So you need to draw the polar plot for the segment. So procedure is as usual. first thing is in the open loop transfer function that you have got, which is being converted into time constant form, you have to substitute S is equal to j omega. That is being done. Then you are expanding the terms and you are finding out what is the real part and what is the imaginary part. You have to equate the imaginary part to 0, thereby finding out omega. That will be your omega PC value. Then you are going to substitute that omega PC in your real part, and that will give you the crossing points on the real axis. That is the procedure. So if you are expanding the term, this will be your imaginary part that you are going to equate it to 0 and find out omega PC. And this will be a real part in which you will be substituting omega PC and you will be obtaining the crossing. Those things you have already seen in the earlier class. So I am rushing a little bit. So next thing is, this is your imaginary part that I have equated to 0, and I have found out omega PC to be equivalent to 4.472 radians per second. That 4.472, this is my real part in which I am going to substitute that 4.472, and I have obtained this point. That is my crossing point on real axis. That is my crossing point on real axis. The reason why I am trying to do this is, as I already told you, whenever it comes to an infinite line segment, the map will be always a polar plot. Suppose if it is a minimum phase transfer function with only poles in the denominator, you will be able to use type and order to determine where the plot is starting and where it is going to end. So this system, as you can observe from the previous case, the order here is third order system, and the type here is 1. So type 1 is determining your start, order is determining the end of the plot. So remember that aspect, type 1, order 3. So this is your polar plot, that is a map. So if you are discussing where the plot is going to start, that will be decided by the type is 1. So this is type 0 quadrant, this is type 1 quadrant. So the plot is made to start over here. Somewhere it will cross this real axis, that is being found out just now by all these calculations. Okay, by substituting omega PC in your real part, you have got the crossing point. You have to mark that as a crossing point. Then where the plot is going to end, okay, that will be decided by the order. Order is 3 for your system, so that 3 is coming over here. This is order 1, this is order 2, this is your order 3 quadrant, so the plot is ending here. So roughly you have made the drawing of the map for this infinite line segment. Always for an infinite line segment along imaginary axis, you are to draw the map which is your polar plot. Next, the next segment is your arc. The next segment is your arc, this arc. We are done with this segment. This segment calculation is over. That is already done, for which the map is a polar plot that we discussed earlier. Now we have to move on to the next segment, that is your infinite arc, whose radius is infinity, and the angle of travel is from pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. You have to check out in which direction it runs. So it is from pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. So for this also you need to know what will be the map. So remember the two aspects, the radius is infinity and the angle of travel is from pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. Pi by 2 to minus pi by 2, and the radius is infinity. These things you have to remember. And this is your given transfer function that you obtain, in which you are going to substitute that condition. S is equal to this condition you are going to substitute where r is tending to your infinity, that is maximum value, theta is varying, that is the angle is varying from plus pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. These two conditions you have to satisfy everywhere in the g of s into h of s relation. And if you are considering r factor is infinity, And if you are comparing these two terms, S is having that R factor. So if you compare 1 and zero point 0.5 S, you can easily eliminate this one and you can retain 0.5 S alone. Same for the other factor. So this way you have eliminated or simplified that equation. That final equation is k divided by s squared. In S, you have to substitute r tending to infinity, r into e power j theta, where r is taking infinite value, theta is varying from pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. You are going to substitute these two relationships. So if you do that, this is your S actually, in which you have substituted that. So S is tending to r into e power j theta, r is taking infinite value, so k divided by infinity, that will be giving you 0. This is for the map. Map's magnitude will be 0. Map's magnitude will be 0. Suppose if you are considering the angle is given by theta. So this is e power j3 theta. If you are taking it up, the sign will go negative, and you know that theta value is varying from pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. If you substitute these two conditions here, then for the map, already we know the magnitude is 0. Now the angle variation will change now. It will be from minus 3 pi by 2 to plus 3 pi by 2. It will change. This is for the map. So if you are understanding that, these two are the equations that you got. When theta is equal to pi by 2, the map always has a magnitude of 0, and for which the angle is starting over from minus 3 pi by 2, that is 270. Minus 272 plus 270, it will travel. So depending upon these two relationships, if you see to the map that you have drawn in G of S into H of S plane, this was the segment that you are going to map in G of S into H of S plane. So the angle of travel is from minus 270 to plus 270. Negative angles are always taken in clockwise direction and positive angles are always taken in anti-clockwise direction. So taking that into consideration, this was your original segment. The map is drawn on G of S into H of S plane. The radius, as you know, for the map is 0. Okay, so that is being marked here. Radius will be 0. Even though it is drawn a little bit big for your own understanding only, but it will be very close around the origin. It will be like a point only because the radius is 0. And if you want to draw the angle representation, if you have to draw from pi by 2 to pi by 2 means like this only the circlement will be present. Like the original segment, pi by 2 to pi by 2 you will be having. But here in this case the map is having minus 272 plus 270 rotation you have to give. So you should give 2 times circlement like shown in the map. I'm trying to explain. So this is 0 angle. Zero, and this is minus 90 because negative angles are clockwise. So minus 180, so this is minus 270. So the curve will start from minus 270. So minus 270 is the starting point of the map. Then it should end at plus 270. If you take the positive angles, it should be the anti-clockwise. So this will be plus 270 again. Sorry, this is 90, and this is plus 180, and this is plus 270. So it will travel like this. If it is stopping here, then it will be pi by 2 to pi by 2. So you have to do one more encirclement to complete 270-degree encirclement. So this is how you have to draw the map for the arc segment. Then moving on to the next segment, that is your infinite line segment again, the opposite side, the negative imaginary axis. This is your infinite line segment that is on the negative imaginary axis, which is ranging from omega is equal to minus infinity to omega is equal to 0. For this case, the map will be the inverse or mirror image of the earlier polar plot that you got. So you did not do any more calculations here in this case because the earlier segment already we have drawn the map. For this segment you have obtained the polar plot. like you have seen in the earlier case, this diagram. This is the polar plot that you got for that segment. But the segment that you are considering is just opposite, like this. So it will be a mirror image of this. Okay. So if you are drawing the mirror image, I will just try to draw the mirror image. So the mirror image will start like this and it will end like this. Okay, the direction will be like this. Alright, that will be the mirror image. So that will be the map for this segment. Okay, so this segment does not need any calculation. Once you obtain the polar plot for the first segment, take the mirror image, that will be the map. So mirror image is already drawn. This is the mirror image for the segment. Now the final segment, if you are considering, there is a small circle that is having the radius of 0. And this is the segment that you have to map. And it is traveling in an anti-clockwise manner from minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. Now in this case, same procedure you have to adopt. You have to substitute the limit r e power j theta in s, but here instead of infinity, the radius will be tending to 0, and the angle also will be varying depending upon the segment that you are going to map. Again I am telling you, this is a segment that you are going to map very close around the origin, whose radius is equal to 0, and it is traveling in anti-clockwise direction. So this axis, if you are considering, that will be minus pi by 2, and this will be pi by 2. So its travel is from minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2, if you can observe here. And its radius will be 0. So you have to substitute limit r tending to 0 now, r into e power j theta, where theta is varying from minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2 condition. You have to substitute in place of s. So if you do so, the map will be obtained. Now again, now earlier case, when the radius was infinity, you were eliminating this concept. Okay, the ones were eliminated, but here in this case radius is almost 0. So if you compare these two terms, we will not eliminate 1, but you will be eliminating the 0.1 s and 0.5 s will be eliminated, because it will be very, very less as the radius is tending to 0, and you will be rewriting the equation. So if you are rewriting the equation, it will be 0.05 k divided by s into 1 into 1. So in place of s, you are going to substitute limit r tending to 0, r into e power j theta, where theta is varying from minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2, you are going to substitute. So if you substitute that, here they have substituted that, and again this is 0.05 k divided by r is taking 0, so the map's magnitude will now become infinity. And if you are marking this angle, okay, the angle for the original segment is traveling from minus pi by 2 to plus pi by 2. And if you take this e power j theta to the numerator, it will become e power minus j theta, and you apply theta is equal to minus pi by 2 plus pi by 2. Then for the map, the magnitude will be infinity, and the angle will be pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. So this will be the map that you have to draw. And again, if you are considering these two factors, the map will be of infinite radius, and it will be traveling in one arc, half arc only. So let's see how the map is being done. So this was the original segment for which the map, as I already told you, the map's radius is now infinity, and it is covering up the entire right half, and the angle of travel, if you consider, means it is clockwise. As shown, as I have derived, it is traveling from pi by 2 to minus pi by 2 now. So this is the map. So this is the angle of travel, pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. It will be traveling in clockwise direction. So this will be the map for the last segment, that is the arc of 0 radius. So finally, after mapping these individual sections, you have to combinedly draw all the maps together, beginning from the first map, second map, third map, fourth map. You cannot mismatch the order. From the first map only you have to draw in sequence till the last map. So if you do that, you will be getting a Nyquist plot. We have started off with Nyquist contour, but now the diagram is being changed to a Nyquist plot. So now I will tell you how they have drawn. First segment that you have drawn is the polar plot that is starting here and it is crossing over at minus 0.00417K, that is the crossing point and real axis. This is your first map. Next map, that's the first map. I have not drawn it fully. So let me draw the first map. This is my first map. Then the second map is a small encirclement which is ranging from minus 270 to plus 270. As you can see, it is a very small circle whose radius is 0. That is a map that you have to follow it up. So you have to draw that. This is your second map. And then you have to follow it up with the third polar plot, that is a mirror image that you got for the third segment. So this is your third map. Okay, and remember you have to mark the direction. Okay, here the direction is traveling like this. Otherwise you won't be able to know what type of encirclement, whether it is anti-clockwise or clockwise. That is very important. Okay, let me mark it also. Then it will be traveling like this. Then final segment, this is my final segment whose radius is very very large, that is infinity, that is traveling from pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. This finishes off my Nikos contour. This is the fourth map that I have got. You cannot mismatch the order. You have to start from the very beginning and you should end in the sequence. Now, again I am drawing the direction. Then the next thing is, after obtaining, this is called as my Nikos plot. Next thing is I need to determine within which range of K the system will be stable. What can you tell about the open loop system? What can you tell about the closed loop system? This is done for a closed loop system. You know that by observing the characteristic equations, location of roots on S-plane, you will be able to easily determine whether the system is stable or unstable. If some roots are located right half, directly you can say that the system is unstable. If all the roots are located in your left half, then the system will be stable. That's the case. So from that discussion you can observe whether the open loop system will be stable or unstable. Now we are going to discuss how the closed loop system is becoming stable or unstable depending upon the encirclement of point minus 1 plus j0 by counting the number of encirclements, nature of encirclements, and relating it to the number of poles and zeros that are located in the right of the S-plane. So that is the meaning of Nikos stability criterion. This is the plot that you got. Now the next thing is you have to find out what is the crossing point. Already you have checked out what is the crossing point. So this is your crossing point, minus 0.0417K. In this you need to substitute K is equal to 1. And then you have to, you have to equate it to minus 1, I think so, because the circlement point is minus 1 plus j0. So you have to equate that to minus 1 and you have to find out what is the K value. So if you are finding the K value, as I told you, you have to equate this to minus 1 because the encirclement point is minus 1 plus j0. So the crossing point you have to equate it to minus 1 plus j0. You are finding K value, that is 240. So you have to consider different cases. One is when K is less than 240, what happens to the system stability? One is when K is greater than 240, what happens to the system stability? This determination is very important. Please give an ear to me. First case, when you are having a value where K is less than 240, you can choose any value. K is less than 240, any value you have to choose. Suppose if I am choosing 100, which is less than 240, you have to substitute that 100 in this equation. So minus 0.0417 into 100 if you are substituting. That is for K less than 240. That is a crossing point actually. If you are choosing this value, then that crossing point is coming over here. Whenever you are choosing a lesser value, which is less than 240, then the crossing point is coming at this location. But if you are clearly observing, here at this particular location, there are no encirclements. The encirclements are nil. n is equal to 0. Then the next thing that you need to check is how many number of poles are located in your right half. That you will get it from the characteristic equation. So you are having, I think, the poles are located in -2, -4, I think so. -2, -4 and 0 it is located. So no number of poles are located in your right half. Okay, remember right half, not left half, right half. So n is equal to p, that is the condition. So both are equal to 0. So in this case you will tell that the system is closed loop system stable. So this is how you will infer for one case when k is less than 240. So let's check what happens here in the comment that they have given. The same things that I have told you. Whenever k is less than 240, there are no encirclements. The -1 plus j0 point is not encircled, they have told you, and there are no poles on right half, so system is stable. So this is the first inference, that is for case number 1 where k is less than 240. The next case is k greater than 240. Second case you have to choose, where suppose if I am choosing k is equal to 500. Suppose if I am choosing k is equal to 500, and then I have to check out what is the crossing point here. So any value you can choose, it's your choice only. You choose it and substitute in the crossing point. Now the crossing point is coming over here. So this is your crossing point now. Now from this you just draw a pencil line, okay, and see to how many lines it cuts, okay. There are two lines that it's cutting. This is the first one which is in clockwise direction. This is the second one again, which is in clockwise direction. So whenever you are having a clockwise encirclement, directly you should tell that the system is unstable. Three conditions I have already told you in Nyquist stability criterion. N is equal to P. Suppose if you are having clockwise encirclement, directly you should say that the system is unstable. Suppose if you are having anti-clockwise encirclement, if the number is 2 means accordingly you should have 2 number of poles located in right half. If both P and N are equal, then the system is stable, otherwise it is unstable. That is the second point. Suppose if you are having no encirclement, then no poles should be located in right half. Remember right half now, not left half. Okay, so this is the procedure for determining and discussing system stability and defining out range of K for stability as per Nyquist stability criterion. So next problem. Again somebody wants to know how I have determined system stability, or you are happy? Want me to tell again how I have determined system stability? This is important because finally you have to give a comment on system stability by choosing proper values of K. So still silent, so I can proceed with the next problem. Okay. Next problem also, they have asked you to draw the Nyquist plot for the system whose open loop transfer function, they have given it to be equal to K into 1 plus 0.5s into 1 plus s divided by 1 plus 10s into s minus 1, and they have asked you to determine the range of values of K for which the system is stable. Same procedure you have to adopt. First thing is you have to check whether the system is in time constant form or pole zero form. I think it is in time constant form, so you can skip the checking now. It is of 1 plus st format, so you can skip the checking. That is done. Next thing is you need to draw the Nyquist quanta. For that you have to check whether there are any singular points, whether there are any poles located in origin. As you can see from this equation, there are no poles located in origin and there are no roots located on imaginary axis. So you can draw a full Nyquist contour covering up the entire right half of the S-plane that is being drawn here. So this is your Nikos contour. That is generally done because you are not having any pole. Okay, suppose if you are having any pole here like this extra, then you have to mark that pole and you have to take a detour. But here in this case, there are no poles located on origin or no poles on imaginary axis, so we can skip that step. So now if you see means there will be 3 segments only, not 4 segments as you've seen in the earlier problem. So the first segment as usual, it is your imaginary axis line segment that is directed along the imaginary axis where omega is ranging from 0 to plus infinity. That is your first segment for which the map will be a polar plot as usual you have to draw. And the last segment is again C3 segment that is quite opposite to this earlier segment, and for this map will be the mirror image that is also along the imaginary axis, but once if you draw the polar plot for the earlier segments you can obtain a mirror image and you can obtain a map. And the last segment is this arc segment, that is again an arc which is covering the entire right of the S-plane whose radius is infinity and it is traveling in clockwise direction, so the angle here is pi by 2 to minus pi by 2. So argument will be from minus 90 to, sorry, plus 90 to minus 90. So for that you have to obtain the map. So let's discuss mapping one by one. So the first segment is your infinite line segment. For that the map will be the polar plot. So this is your infinite line segment along the imaginary axis with whose range is varying from omega is range is varying from omega is equal to 0 to infinity. This you have to map on g of s into h of s plane. So this is your polar plot that you're having, but you don't know what is the crossing point, and this system is also having zeros, so it is not a minimum phase system, so you cannot use type and order to determine where the plot is going to start and end. So here you have to do calculative procedure to determine the nature of the plot that you are going to obtain as a map. Again remember, only for minimum phase transfer function with only poles alone you can use type and order to determine where this system is having, you can see for yourself, this is not a minimum phase transfer function, it is also having zeros. So this is not a minimum phase transfer function, so you cannot use order and type to determine start and end. It is not possible. So you have to go for other methodology only. So how they have proceeded, check. So you need to know where it crosses over, you need to know where it starts, you need to know where it ends, in which quadrant. Sorry about that interconnectivity, disconnectivity. Okay. All right. So again, you have to substitute S is equal to j omega. You have to separate real part and imaginary part, like I have shown. Okay. Just they have expanded every equation, and this is the equation that they would have got after substituting j omega and expanding. Okay, this is the equation to which they are going to multiply that complex conjugate. Okay, the denominator complex conjugate they are going to multiply with the numerator and the denominator. So that is what they have done in this step. Okay, and they are separating up the real part and the imaginary part in the next. So this is the final equation that they have got, where the imaginary part, as you can see, is the coefficient of this j term, that is your imaginary part, that they will be equating to 0, finding out omega value, that will be omega pc. That omega pc that they are going to substitute in the real part. Real part is given here. So this is a real part that they will substitute in the real part, and they will be finding out what is the crossing point as usual procedure. This is the equation of imaginary part to 0. Okay, and they have found out what is omega pc. Finally, the omega pc value is found out to be equivalent to 0.62 radians per second. This they should substitute in real part. Okay, so this is my real part in which they have substituted 0.62 everywhere. You can see for yourself in places of omega, and they have got the crossing point to be equal to this value. This is your crossing point. So you know what is the crossing point, where it crosses over real axis, but still you don't know where the plot is going to start and where it is going to end. So for that usual polar plot procedure they have adopted. So you know how to draw a polar plot. First thing is, given equation you are going to write it in terms of magnitude and phase angle. So the given equation is this one, and they are writing magnitude part here. These are all the magnitude parts, and the adjacent parts are all the angle for all the factors that are given. So you have to separately write the angle and the magnitude. So if you are separating it top, this will be your magnitude expression, and this will be your angle expression, phi expression. So in this you are substituting two values. You can substitute extra values also to obtain accuracy of the plot, but two important values that you need to substitute is when omega is equal to 0 and omega is equal to infinity, what happens to the plot. That those two features you have to determine mandatorily. Okay, so that they have done here. So this is for omega is equal to 0, you substitute omega is equal to 0 in the magnitude expression, you will be getting the magnitude to be equivalent to k. Okay, and then you need to substitute omega is equal to 0 in the phase angle expression, then the phase angle is obtained to be value 180 degree, minus 180 degree. Okay, similarly you need to substitute omega is equal to infinity in the same equations, and you need to know where the plot is going to end and what is its corresponding magnitude. So when omega is equal to 0, the magnitude is k and the angle is minus 180. This value they have got just by substituting omega as 0 in the magnitude and phase angle expression, that's all. So now let us see what happens if you are substituting omega is equal to infinity. Okay, this is where they have substituted omega is equal to infinity. Okay, omega is equal to infinity in the same magnitude expression they have did it, and in the angle expression they have did it, and they have obtained these values. Okay, infinity and the angle will be 0. For 0 the magnitude is k and minus 180. So with these two values we can determine where the plot is going to start and it is going to end. But still, in order to have an accurate plot they have used 0.1, 0.5, 1.52 also. Okay, but important thing is you need to know what is the magnitude and the phase angle for these two values of omega when it is 0 and when it is infinity. That is being over. Okay, I'm not telling you how to remember, just check these two values. When omega is equal to 0 means when I lost my internet connection, let it reconnect. Okay, 5 minutes. Okay, reconnect. Okay. Okay. All right. Now, two important values you note it down. What happens to the magnitude when omega is equal to 0, and what happens to the magnitude when omega is equal to infinity. The magnitude is k and 0.05 k, and the corresponding angles are minus 180 and 0. These two things you have to know mandatorily, even though if you are not doing these calculations. Next. So this is the segment that we are discussing about, and you have to map it in g of s into h of s plane. So the crossing point is known to you. This is the crossing point. So you mark it. Now you need to know what is a start point. So start point is where omega is equal to 0, for which the magnitude is k, and the angle is, I think, minus 180 degree. Okay, so this is your minus 180 degree axis. So they have put the point k, and this will be the start, and it will travel and it will end it. See the way it envelopes like this, that you don't know. Okay, in order to know how it travels, what value it takes here, 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 and all. For that purpose only, they have determined use extra values to determine the accuracy. You can draw it like this also. If you know the start and end, you can draw it like this also. That is also valid. But still, you don't know the accurate shape. That's why they have used the extra values in between. Okay, if you calculate the values of magnitude and phase angle for the in between values, then you will be able to draw it accurately. Otherwise it will be a simple straight line. It all depends upon how you visualize. So in order to make it better and accurate, you have to choose some in between values also. So if you do that, this is the start, and for the extra values you have made this envelope, and it crosses over at minus 0.1667, and then it travels, and it ends in 0.05 k, where omega is equal to infinity, and the angle is 0 degree, I think so. So this is your 0 degree axis, this is your minus 180 degree axis. Again, I'm telling you, roughly if you are calculating only for omega is equal to 0 and infinity, you can visualize it to be any value or any shape. Okay, so in order to make it better, you are using extra values to make the shape more better. Okay, so you have to do that also. Pick some 2 3 values in between to check out how accurately the shape of the plot is running through. Okay, so this is a map for the first segment, and as usual procedure, this is an arc of infinite radius, for which the value is r tending to infinity, and the angle of argument is ranging from plus pi by 2 to minus pi by 2, I guess. So the map, as usual, you have to draw by substituting that value of s in this given equation. So again, if you are comparing these two terms, 1 and 0.5s and 1 and s and 1 and 1 plus 10s, s is having that factor, r factor, which is greater, magnified, infinity. So if you compare these two terms, all the 1 terms will cut out. Okay, we are going to eliminate it, and you are going to simplify the equation further, and then you are calculating the magnitude. The magnitude now is 0.05 k only. So because of this particular reason, the map is simply a point. It is not a small circle with radius 0. It's simply a point. Earlier case you were having, I think, e per j theta something. But here I think both the S factors are getting cancelled. Yes. Okay, S factors are getting cancelled because S squared is in the numerator as well as in the denominator. So because of which you are not having any angular argument, only the magnitude is present. So for this arc, the map is simply a point which is located at point not 5k. Okay, so if map is as shown here, this is a point not 5k. That point is a map for this arc of infinite radius. Again, there is no argument. That is why it is a point. Okay. So this map for the second segment that is over. Next, for the last segment, as I already told you, that is exactly a line segment which is resembling the earlier line segment that we have discussed, but only it is in the negative imaginary axis. So the map, if you are drawing, means it will be an mirror image only. So if you are discussing this is the plot original. The mirror image will be quite opposite one, like this you will be getting. Okay. Okay, this will be completing of the entire Nyquist plot. Okay, same way they have drawn, I think so. And next thing, here also you need to determine the system stability by equating the crossing point to minus 1 plus j. That they have done it here. Okay, minus 1 plus j0, and you are finding out k value. K value is found to be equivalent to 6. Then you have to choose k less than 6 and k greater than 6. Two things you have to choose. Suppose if you are choosing k is equal to 3, and if you are substituting that k value in this crossing point, then this crossing point will be coming here. I'll wait a little bit. Okay, this crossing point will come here. From that, you slightly mark one pencil line and check out what is the nature of the encirclement. This is in clockwise direction. So whenever you are having clockwise encirclement, directly you can tell that the system is unstable, closed loop system. This is first case when k is less than 6. Suppose we are choosing k greater than 6, another value. Then the crossing point is somewhere over here, as they have pointed, somewhere over here. Again, you mark a pencil line, but here in this case, the nature of the encirclement is anti-clockwise. And one number you are getting, so n is equal to 1. So p should also be equal to 1 in the right half. So if you are checking out the original equation, if you are checking out the original equation, this is the original equation, you are having s is equal to 1 factor. So one pole is located here in the right half. Okay, so you are having number of encirclement anti-clockwise 1, which is equivalent to p, which is equivalent to 1. So this condition says that the system is stable. Because p is equal to n, the condition says that the closed loop system is stable. But if you see to the open loop system, again if you are having a pole in the right half, then the open loop system will be unstable. But still the closed loop system is stable. Okay, so this is all about Nyquist stability criterion. I think remaining problems you can do it on your own. So with this I'm closing off Nyquist stability criterion in unit number 3. So next unit, I don't know what is in that unit. Let me check out. Next class we will start off unit number 4. Okay, I'm hoping you have understood. Even though I have not asked any questions to you. Okay, now all can discuss. In case if I am having any queries regarding how you have submitted or anything regarding CT, I myself will contact you. Okay. So now all can disperse.